Omarosa is a household name. She's a number one New York Times best-selling author, brand strategist, and master of the art of the pivot that many of us are trying to do after a trying year. And she joins us today from her home in Jacksonville. Omarosa Manigault Newman, welcome to
Hi
Inside
there.
South Florida.
Hey,
Hi,
Jason. How are you?
I am good. I'm doing better now that you're here. I'm excited to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to be back and living in the same state as you. We were in California and LA for so long
Right.
together. And so I want to say, welcome to Florida.
It's been my pleasure to be here amongst the greats. Omarosa, let's talk about it because, as I said, you have mastered the art of the pivot, and that has been the theme of the last 15 months, pivoting and finding your way back after what has been an upended year for a lot of us. When you have been talking to other women of color and other women, what have you been discovering about them and their pivots?
I found that women have had an opportunity, we were forced to finally take a breath, to exhale. As women, the biggest challenge that we face is balance. And women found themselves trying to reevaluate all that we've carried. And in my case, for instance, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I was a caregiver to my mom, to my siblings, my nephew, and caring for the church, my schoolwork, my career, and it was all just kind of running me into the ground. So, it was very interesting that we all kind of all stopped and had a moment to just kind of
Yeah.
go, where are we and where are we going?
Right, right. I would agree 100%, Omarosa. So now here we are. People are, as I said, making their way back into this new normal, finding out and redefining who they are for themselves, for their families, for their careers. What do you
Mhm.
feel is the best way to start in a new career, to have that new start and to feel confident in that?
You know what I did, Jason? I went back to thinking about the things that brought me joy, that I love to do. And a lot of us have gotten away from that. I I always wanted to be a lawyer, but I ended up going and getting a master's and a doctorate in law, but I never pursued that career. I never had an opportunity. My career took a different trajectory. So I stopped and remember advocacy was something that I was very passionate about. And so, interestingly enough, the panny gave us an opportunity, in my case, to revisit the things that I love and that I've always wanted to do.
So you went back to school, you're furthering your education. And I think that's really cool that you talk about that because people look at you, Omarosa, and think, wow, she has it all. She's beautiful, she's successful, she has a career in television, she had a career in politics. You have all these wonderful things that have happened in your life, but yet you still felt the need to go further.
Well, because your dream will keep speaking to you. You can ignore it and ignore it as much as you want to, but if you've been dreaming about becoming an author and writing a book, if you've been dreaming about, creating an album or releasing your song or painting or traveling, your dream will keep speaking to you. No matter how much you ignore it, it'll get louder and louder. And in my case, I knew that after unfortunately, my brother was killed, that advocacy was really my call in life and I needed to get back to that. And so yes, I went into the ministry and I was able to minister to people about healing and grief, but advocacy on the level that I want to go to requires me to pivot, to go back to school, to get more education, in this case to go to law school, and to get the credentials I need to be a fighter for those who don't have a voice or have an ability to fight for themselves.
Right, right. You mentioned being an author. Let's talk about your book, your 2018 book, Unhinged, which was, to me, one of the most compelling reads, one of the best reads that I've ever had the chance to experience. And I read a lot of books and listen to a lot of audiobooks as well. But Omarosa, this book was just so many powerful things. It's a number one New York Times bestseller, and it's still a topic of conversation even in 2021. Why do you think it's still so timely?
I think there's power in telling your truth, taking your own power back. So many people have their opinion about who Omarosa is and what she's done and so forth. And I took my power back and I was able to tell my own story and to share my experiences as the only Black woman sitting at a table making decisions about trillions and trillions of dollars and about 350 million Americans. I was the only Black person there. And so being able to take people behind the scenes and show them what it was like to be in the Oval Office, in the Situation Room, on Air Force One, and to give them that unique insider's look. I think people connected with that. But I also talked about, the great tragedies in my life and how that shaped me, and
Right.
how I've been living with grief my whole life and didn't realize how much that grief was impacting me from my father's murder, from my brother's murder, from so much death. And now we go through this interesting period where people have had a significant amount of loss. And so I believe that people really connected with what I shared in Unhinged. And like you said, I still hear from people all over the world who was able to kind of see the lessons that I was sharing and to connect with me on a different level.
Omarosa, you have so many intricate and delicate and powerful and just fascinating layers to you that I don't think that people really get the chance to see all of that. Because like I said, you started in politics, went into law, got into television, went back into politics, got back into television. You have worn so many hats and have been so many different women over the years, but yet you've always stayed true to who you are and who Omarosa is. What would you say has healed you the most throughout all of that?
Uh, I think that the thing that has healed me the most is service, being of service to others, of being able to help people. I met a woman yesterday who talked about her husband dying suddenly of a heart attack, and she came up to me and she said, I don't know if you want to talk about Michael Clark Duncan, but my husband just died suddenly of a heart attack." And she said, "Does it get better?" And I looked her dead in the eyes, Jason. I said, "It doesn't get better, but you get better.
Yeah.
Work on getting better." The thing that helped me the most was helping and ministering to people. That's what helped me to heal on this journey.
Helping others helped you. Omarosa, where can we pick up Unhinged?
You can pick up Unhinged on Amazon, of course, Barnes and Noble, or any booksellers. And I love signing books, so please go to omarosa.com, or I'm on social media at Omarosa on Snap, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. And I love to sign and connect with all of the folks who have taken the time to read, to buy the book.
Omarosa Madigal Newman, thank you for connecting with us this morning on Inside South Florida. Such a pleasure and an honor, and you be well and all the best.
Thank you, Jason.